Hello, my name is Bob Greiner, and I'm here to show you the databases that are available on the website of the Mid-Atlantic Germanic Society, or MAGS as we know it. MAGS transitioned to a new website in 2015. We initially loaded several types of data into a searchable database, and several more data sets were added in the years since then. We now have 20 separate data sets to offer on our website. All of these data sets are unique. They were created through the efforts of MAGS members. We focused on record sets that contain many German immigrants. The indexes are not available anywhere else. The data sets fall into three general categories. There are church records from several sources. We have consulate records from the National Archives, and government records of military pensions and naturalization. The data was transcribed from original records in various repositories. Here are some of the church records we have. Christ Lutheran Church in Baltimore was located near the immigration pier, so many immigrants passed through this church on their way into the country. The records include baptisms, confirmations, marriages, and deaths from 1886 to 1926. Trinity Lutheran Church in Cleveland also had many German immigrants. Between 1853 and 1875, the pastors recorded not only the names, but the places and dates of birth of these immigrants in Germany. So there's a lot of information in that set of records. Frederick W. Geisenhainer Jr. was a Lutheran pastor for over 60 years in New York City. He served St. Matthew's and St. Paul's Lutheran churches there. His pastoral records contain the names of many German immigrants. There are over 15,000 records in this data set, ranging between the years of 1827 and 1879. Columbia Institution, which today is known as Gallaudet University in the District of Columbia, had many deaf children of immigrant families that attended the school. The years cover 1862 through 1887. Der Deutsche Correspondent was a German newspaper in Baltimore. At the beginning of each year, the paper reported a list of names of people who died the previous year. Of course, many of these German immigrants were included. The years include 1882 through 1905. There are many records in the National Archives from United States consulates in Germany. These include, among others, consular dispatches, which are messages from the consul to the State Department, instructions from the State Department to the consulate, lists of services rendered by the consul, and estate cases handled by the consul on behalf of German or American citizens. Citizens living in Germany may have dealt with the consulate, and correspondence and records generated by contact with U.S. citizens living in country, such as businessmen and war veterans, are included. Names of individuals were extracted by carefully reading through these records. They cover the years from 1860 through 1906. In 1850, the consul in Bremen decided that he had the authority to marry German citizens who were emigrating to America. Apparently, he felt that they would have an easier time as they got into the United States. The State Department eventually said it was not legal, but then they had couples sign a marriage contract to pledge that they would marry once they arrived in the United States. This practice continued in Bremen and Hamburg until 1870. So we have the names of those people extracted from those records. We also have some early records of German citizens who immigrated through Bremen from 1833 through 1836. We have various types of pension records included among our data sets. Many U.S. veterans were living overseas, primarily veterans from the Civil War. In 1883 and 1899, the Pension Bureau reported to Congress the names, service units, and foreign addresses of those men on the pension rolls who were living overseas. This information is invaluable in identifying where a veteran might have been living in the 1800s. A veteran may have appealed a denial of his pension application or wanted to increase the amount of his pension. He would write to the Pension Bureau to request a review. There are several government records that contain information about these requests. They cover the years from 1881 through 1930. We also have early naturalizations from the Philadelphia federal courts between 1798 and 1833. All of our data sets are searchable by name and will show the results on a screen. You can use partial names in your search, and you can also search only a single data set or all of them at once. Details of most records are available to MAGS members only, but anybody can view the details of the Geisenhainer and the Cleveland Trinity Church records. Did I mention that membership in MAGS is only $15 for a year? It might be worth signing up as a member to be able to look at all of the records. Okay, so let's take a look at our website. This is the main page of the MAGS website. On the left side of the screen are tabs that will take you to other pages. We want to click on the MAGS Databases tab and see what's there. When we do that, several additional items open up underneath the MAGS Databases tab. The database descriptions will give you a detailed explanation of what is in each data set. Let's see what's there. Another screen appears with details about each of the data sets. I've cut off the screen here, but there are entries for each of the 20 data sets. There's a brief description in the column on the right, but if we click on the left column, you'll see there's more details about the Cleveland Trinity Church records. So let's click on that. This page includes specific information about the origin of the record set and where you can find the original records. It will also give you an idea of the type of data you can find in the records. Most of these pages show you an example of an original record, so you get an idea of what the transcriber had to work with. If we go back to the main page and now click on Public Database Search, we can proceed to search the databases. On this page, you just click on the Proceed button, and then this is the main search screen. Notice that I entered a partial surname and then selected Begins With from the drop-down menu. There are other options on that menu that you can choose. I did the same for the given name. I put in just the first initial and chose Begins With, and I left the record type blank for now so I can search all the data sets at once. If we go over and click on the search button, we now get the detailed results screen. These are results from the particular search criteria that I entered at the top. Notice that there are a lot of George Abenscheins in the Geisenhainer records, both baptisms and one marriage record here. There's also a George Abenschein who appears in Der Deutsche Correspondent records. Because I'm not logged in as a MAGS member, there's no more detail available for these results. However, if I go back and I click on the record type and choose Geisenhainer marriages and then do my search, now I get that one record for George Abenschein as a groom appearing in the Geisenhainer marriages. Note that now there's an actions column here with an eyeball icon. This only works if you select Geisenhainer marriages or the Trinity Church records. Geisenhainer baptisms and Geisenhainer confirmations will also work if you're not logged in as a member. So when I click on the eyeball icon, then you get a pop-up screen that shows the details of the marriage of George Abenschein and Sophia Kallmann. Notice all the good information that you find in this record. We have the marriage date, the name of the groom, his age, where he was born at Württemberg. Not very detailed, but at least you have an idea. You see where he resided in the city and the name of his parents. And then you get the same information for the bride. And also you get the names of witnesses. So there's a lot of detail here for this particular one record. Now, let's go back and let me show you another search. This time I logged into my MAGS account so you can see the details of all the records. Again, I'll use a partial name up here and a partial given name, and I'll click on Search. I see a lot of records for a Joseph Eschenlohr. He shows up in a variety of different pension records. He was an interesting character. He was born in France and immigrated in 1858. He enlisted in the Civil War in Ohio and was injured giving him a pension. He then re-enlisted in the Volunteer Reserve Corps. He spent some time in the Soldiers' Home for Disabled Veterans in Milwaukee, but finally he decided to return to France, where he married and had children. Joe shows up in a variety of data sets related to pensions and also in consulate records. Let's see what the details of the 1883 Pension Bureau report have to say about Joe. We'll click on the eyeball icon, and we see that Joseph Eschenlohr lived in Wilgardheim in Alsace, which was since 1871 a part of Germany at that time. His pay rate was $18 a month for his disability, which was a gunshot wound in his right leg. The pension certificate number would help you find the original document in the National Archives. This information was copied directly from the Pension Bureau report, and the information at the bottom tells exactly where you can find that information. Let me show you one more example. If we just take off the given name and search all data sets for names that begin with ESCH, click on search, there's a lot more people with similar surnames that show up in multiple different data sets on the site. As a MAGS member, you could explore each one of these records in detail. These are just a few examples of the types of database searches that you can do on the MAGS website. Thank you for listening.